There we are. Hey, everybody, we are live. We will wait a second to let people pop on. And in this space of waiting, we just wanted to come and talk to y'all during this interesting time. I don't like calling it a time of uncertainty because I think it gives it kind of a negative connotation. I think it's a time of, I call it a season of change. And this is just a season right now that we are all going to be going through. And as humans and humanity, I believe that we're awesome and we can get it together and do it together. And so today I brought one of my awesome coaches, Dr. Dominique. She is an amazing woman. I'm so excited because this is the first time you got to do a live feed with us. So I'm interested for people to get to see you. And then also for the fact that they get to hear your heart and know a little bit about you. So with that, let's get started. Tell us about yourself, Dr. Dominique.
Okay, so my name is Dominique Simmons, and yes, I am a doctor. I have my doctorate degree in educational leadership. Let's see, I always struggle with this question when people say, "Tell me about yourself," because sometimes like, okay, what do I say? But I'm a people person. I just love people. But I am a teacher. I teach at a private school here in the Texas area, and the school is made up of elementary, middle school, and high school students. I'm also a counselor. Then I'm also a life coach as well, where I work with a large population of different people. I have a lot of experience with mental health. Man, I always struggle with this question.
You're
I
so
love
diverse.
I love sports. I'm an athlete myself right now. Man, I don't know. There's a lot, but I never know how to really answer the question.
And that's the thing for you too, that you used to actually play basketball, but then also you coach basketball, and you also have, like I said, your athletes too. So it's let's start off with that one. How does it seem like, with being that you're a teacher and then a coach and then an athlete yourself, how can you advise people, or what are some things that you are doing to, one, stay active, but also to stay mentally well during this season?
So for me, and also what I've been encouraging my athletes, because obviously we can't go to the gyms in this area, gyms are closed. So it's pretty much, you have to do it in your home. So what I've been doing, and it's actually been fun for me because it's causing me to have to be really creative in the things that I'm doing and how to stay active. So I've actually been doing a lot of home workouts. I've been utilizing Pinterest, then just also utilizing my own, knowledge, putting workouts together. So I'm doing a lot of home workouts. I've also had friends who are trainers themselves who've been doing like live streams. So we've been doing like groups together in the house, like through our phones or, through the computer. So it's been really cool to have that accountability, and also just showing ourselves that, hey, we can still get this done, even though we, can't go to the gym or do anything outside. As far as my athletes, I like to say I instilled something, I guess, in my athletes, because before it's not something that they would do, but now they're sending me videos. Hey coach, we're outside running, or hey coach, we're doing this inside. Hey coach, remember we said we can do this. So for me, it's just really been making sure that I'm doing something actively in my house, like some type of hit training, or I have the luxury of having a workout room, which is kind of funny, that I created 6 months ago, not knowing that I would be using it for this. But I'm like, whoa, this is awesome, So just being on my elliptical, but just really staying, busy in that regard. And then as far as like mentally for my mind, honestly, for me, it's as much as I love social media, I found myself, I had to kind of take a step back from social media, because my brain is on overload with all the different things that are, the news and all the different things that people are posting on social media. So for me, it's again, it's not a negative thing. It's been great to really just be able to pull back from some things that really, really used to have my attention so much, and challenging myself to focus on different things, like, actually picking up a book and reading the book intentionally, just engaging with other people, not just in text and, different things, like actually picking up my phone and doing a FaceTime video with someone and seeing them
Mhm.
live versus texting. So for me, those are the type of things that I've been doing, just really making myself step out of what we've gotten so accustomed to in society.
Yes, I love that, and that's so true. And it's that connection and harboring and continuing that connection with one another. And the one thing I love that you talked about is creativity. So for me, I say that change is the fear of loss, but it also can be the gain of a new perspective. And in this season of change that we are in, I think creativity can be like harnessed more than ever. And I'm seeing it a lot with some of the social media feeds or seeing like what you were talking about. And so for you, or what advice would you give to people that are one, say they're now teachers themselves, they're homeschool teachers, they never thought they were going to be. So how can you speak kind of like life back into people about this time instead of seeing fear, seeing that creativity aspect of it?
Mm-hmm. It is scary, especially when you're in a routine of doing something, taking the kids to school, then you're going to work. Some of us are not able to go to work right now. For me, I just keep going back to, this is like the prime time to reconnect with your kids, continue to build relationships. There are so many resources that are free online right now, for to continue in school learning. And I can possibly maybe add it somewhere. We can add it somewhere,
Oh
where I
yeah.
can share those resources with you all. But there's like reading resources that you can do. There's free like online science resources that you could do with your kids. And like I said, this is awesome because now you get to sit down and you're spending time with your kids learning,
Mm-hmm.
like doing fun games on the computer, or, doing fun letter things like writing and coloring and reading books. So I think it's really the mindset about it. It is, again, scary because it's out of the norm for us. But I think this is something so cool because we're so used to doing things a certain way that we're being challenged to figure out, how do we continue to do something, a different way. So there are a lot of resources in which you can still use to be engaged with your kids, which I think is awesome, engaged in their learning. So their learning doesn't have to stop, because I think it's really cool how a lot of people are making resources that usually cost free to parents and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. So I just say with this, just be positive, just embrace and enjoy those moments, because these are moments that you may not get back once we get going again,
Mm-hmm.
So just be present in those moments with your kids and learning and everything.
I love it. I'm getting goosebumps over here. Because the thing that even makes me more goosebumps with that is because I know your story and I know that you're a cancer survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody knows about the moments and the preciousness of it, I believe that you have a unique ability for that. And then your positive outlook. So saying those things, what is something that you would advise? Because what I found, not just in with children, but leadership in general. I'm a leader as a mother, but I'm also a leader as a business owner. And in that space, I have found if I start failing on my faith in humanity and just getting in that fear mongering aspect, how it has a trickle down effect. What's some advice that you can give to people that are in the leadership positions, even if you are leading over your children, no matter where you're at, you can be a leader. How would you advise them right now in this space?
Um, I think it's so important, and I've been just sharing this, with friends and just people that I come in contact with, because they're thinking like, they ask me the question like, "How are you feeling? How are you feeling?" And my response, this literally happened today. I said, "I'm feeling great." They're like, "How can you feel great with everything that's going on in the world right now, and we're unsure what's going to happen?" I think it's so important that you embrace the attitude of being fearless,
Mm-hmm.
because what's going to happen is, if we live in fear, of not knowing what's going to happen, we're going to miss out. And I keep saying this because it's so important. We're going to miss out on some precious moments.
Amen.
So I just think, as leaders to, our employees, or to your kids, or, whomever you're a leader to, I think it's so important that you're sharing with them like, hey, yes, this is going on, but hey, this is where we can capitalize on, XYZ, whatever those things are. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, rebuilding relationships, reestablishing relationships, even deepening relationships, with others, or, even some self-reflection and time for yourself. it's really a mindset thing. Because I'm just a person just with my cancer journey. I was on basically on the verge of death twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people, I said, we may not have the same experience, but there's quite a few things at this point that don't scare me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just like I can't, you shouldn't want to live a life of fear, because living a life of fear, you're going to miss out on so much. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to acknowledge and be mindful of things that are going on, but you don't want to get to a point where those things are taking away from you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest thing, is just be fearless. Not
Mm-hmm.
fearless and naive, but fearless, knowing what's going on, but knowing that, hey, there's a lot of things that can positive that can come out of this, and be willing to tap into whatever those things are.
I agree. I agree. I give a major amen to that one. And so, and that's the thing that that fear, from the physiology aspect that I talk about, is that fear literally shuts off the learning centers of your
Mm-hmm.
brain. And so, if we are in this fear, we are just going day to day. We're not really using our full brain. But this can be
Mm-hmm.
also a time for great creativity, like you were speaking on earlier. I had somebody earlier contact me, and we were talking about, they are not in the virtual setting. We've been in the virtual setting for quite a while. And so it's like, how do you do this? How do you do this?
Mm-hmm.
And the connection and the ability to give back during this period of time. And so I think that's something that I see as such. I like to find the beauty in the moments,
Mm-hmm.
and finding the beauty in this. What's some advice there? Some ways that you feel like other people can find beauty. And I'll say this too: if anybody has found beauty in these moments, leave a comment. Tell us what the good is, because we want to spread that message too. So,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have any questions for Dr. Dominique, always put a comment on there and we will pop it up.
The way, just like you were saying, that how some, we've been virtual for a while and other companies haven't. I think the beauty in that is now you can use your platform to share with somebody else of something that you've done to be successful across the
Mm-hmm.
board. So for me, it's like being the ability to share ideas, things
Mm-hmm.
that people probably weren't even thinking about before until this happened. So again, the connection and the relationship building that you're doing with other people across the board. Um, just thinking about all the time, the beauty and the time that you're getting back. We are
Mm-hmm.
such a busy, busy society where, we're constant, coming and going, where our relationships are really just kind of touch and go. They're not intentional. So the beauty of this is now you're being almost forced. I don't want to say forced because it's not at that point, but you're at the point now where you're having to sit amongst,
Mm-hmm.
family members or whomever. And now you have to be intentional with that relationship. There's so many positive things that can come out of that when you're wanting to develop or having to develop an intentional relationship. So there's beauty there because now you're growing your relationships as an individual or as a group, as a family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then also there's just beauty in, guess what, you get to sit down with yourself. I shared this with my athletes, and this is something that um you know I would say God shared with me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, I believe in God.
Yeah.
It's a time where he's like, you get to sit down, and fully kind of reshape and recarve who you're wanting to be as we move forward, into the next part of this year. So there's
Amen.
beauty in the idea of you being able to sit with yourself, really get to sit down and just reestablish who you are. Some people
Mm-hmm.
think that, oh, I don't have to do that, I've done that. It's a constant thing. So
Mm-hmm.
there's so much beauty in everything that's going on right now, and it's like I keep saying, it's such a mindset thing and how you're viewing what's going on. But I think this is going to allow families to come out and be stronger,
Mm-hmm.
going back to understanding the importance of doing things as a family, not on a touch and go basis. I think this is going to help marriages to some,
Mm-hmm.
some degree, because now we're having to sit and have conversations with each other about things that we may not have sit and have conversations about because we have a life going on. We get to sit down with our kids, really understand where our kids are coming from, reconnect with our kids. I mean, there's so many different things that can come out of this. It's just a matter of how you're looking at it,
I
from each
agree.
different standpoint.
I agree. And that's okay. So Ashley put up amazing things. She said, I won't miss my son taking his first steps. Amen. That is so
Yeah,
awesome.
it's awesome.
And truly walking, like you, what I told somebody today, because they were on the, they were on the money aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And money is great. But what I go from the philosophy is, one is how I treat my people. It will be reflected in my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
But two, I can always make more money. I can't make more time.
Mm-hmm.
And in this process, it's this time. This is the time that you remember. Like, you will always remember the ability or getting to watch. And we're going to remember this. I feel like it's like the Y2K. It's like, how can you not?
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, getting to appreciate quiet time instead of rushing through it. And that's so true. Just being able to have time to reflect
Mm-hmm.
and pause with one another and find creative ways to do things. I know there's a group of us that we have game night. We usually go on Fridays and we have game night. Well, we're going to do a virtual game night because we know we can't be together. But how can we still be creative and still connect? And I guess that's one thing that we can talk about is there's a difference in social distancing, which we are all for, instead of social isolation, which seems a lot of people are going towards. And I know that this can be dangerous, especially with loneliness, depression.
Mm-hmm.
I say even before this happened, we're the most connected ever, but the most alone whenever it comes. So we may have tons of friends on Facebook or whatnot, but we really don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a space that we actually can have those conversations. So what would you speak on that? And how can somebody, one, like we talked about, see the good? And what are some things that they can do to continue this connection after the storm is over?
For me, I think this is a great time, and I even shared this with my parents because they know technology, but they're still learning it. And I'm like, well, during this, y'all are going to really learn technology as far as, FaceTiming and all those types of things. I think use technology, okay, for the social isolation piece. Like, you don't have to be by yourself. I think this is a time where I truly appreciate technology. I can't fly and see my parents like I wanted to because of everything that's going on. But guess what? I'm able to pick up my phone, get on Skype, and utilize the technology that I have, to keep connected with them. So I say use technology, use it for what it's supposed to be used for, the good of things, to really connect. People can still be a part of your big moments. They may not be there physically, but the fact that we're able to put them on our phone or tablets or whatever, that's an amazing thing. But I think the way that you keep this up once, this passes over, is you still have to the same intentionality that you use during this time, you have to remain and keep the same intentionality once this is over. So it goes from just being able to connect on technology. Now, guess what? For example, like me and someone were part of a book club. We just discussed it, like, oh, we can still FaceTime each other and do the book club. But after this is over, for us to remain intentional in that, it's like, okay, well, we were meeting every Wednesday on technology. Okay, now that we're able to actually be in the world again, let's continue to do this. So it's also, holding each other accountable to that, remaining intentional with that connection. So I think that's the way really that you would do it, is using technology now and then challenging yourself with the accountability to continue to do those things once this is all, passed over.
I agree. And the thing that I see too is that in this space that we are distant, technology is great. But whenever we have the opportunity, whenever we can come back together, let's make sure that we do, because from a physiology aspect of it, we have to have human interaction. We talk about oxytocin all the time, and that is what builds trust and love. But it is also with touch. So we can't touch people right now. We can't give high fives. We can't give hugs. But we can give smiles right now. So those are some things that we can do. And I know that some people want to do the telephone, but if you can see somebody's face, go for it, because your body actually needs that. It really needs it right now. And I will say, after I leave these talks, like, I'm like high on life. And I'm so excited. And everybody knows how hyper I can get that's around me. So it's like, they're like, calm down, Emily. But it's so true. Like, it gives so much life back to me by other people breathing life into me, I guess you'd say. And I guess that will be probably our final thing that talk about is, I talk about borrowing energy. And in this time, I see that there are some people that need this borrowed energy. And in this space, that is the reason why we are doing the give back. So it's if you go to www.worksby.com, give back to you. This is where we are actually waiving all of our fees until the end of April. One, we are in a season of blessing and we're allowed to do this and we can do this. And so this also allows you an opportunity to talk to coaches like Dr. Dominique. If you want to have one-on-ones with her at no cost to you. And it is a beauty of being able to give back, but it's also the beauty of sharing your energy, because if y'all don't feel this energy from Dr. Dominique, you like, I don't know. She's awesome. It's so awesome. And I'm blessed to get to know her, but even more to dive down deep and to get to do some of these live streams and such with her. So for those people, how can we encourage them to borrow your energy, and we'll borrow it back? Together we can make it better.
I think you hit it for me. It's always about speaking life. I think going through my cancer and that whole time, I really, really learned the importance and the value of, regardless of where you're at, you don't have to choose to be there. So for me, it's, if you always say, make an impact on someone, put a smile on somebody's face today, and just speak life. I think speaking life, it goes such a long way. And I say words are everlasting. So what we speak and how we speak it into the atmosphere and for others, you never know what that does for somebody. So even though there's all this negativity that's going on, and the naysayers and all this kind of stuff, I think it's so important that you choose life and choose to speak life. And just if you don't take anything else away from this, is just remember that go out, make a positive impact, always strive to put a smile on somebody's face, and just be a giver of words. So that's, for me, that's what I would say.
You're awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for all that hopped on. I'll hold just a second to see if there's any comments on here. If anybody has anything because we always want to give you guys also the opportunity to ask questions if you have any. So we'll pause for a minute or two and see if there's anything. So I am not seeing any. So with that, we will conclude. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have an awesome and blessed day.